What's the longest secret you've ever kept? I was the first person in my family to go to college. My dad worked construction, my mom cleaned houses, and my little brother Jake gave up his bedroom so I could have a quiet space to study. When I got my acceptance letter to State University, I ran through the house screaming that I got a full scholarship. I didn't. I got partial aid that covered about 60%. The rest would be $28,000 my first year alone. I stood in the financial aid office staring at those numbers, knowing my parents would take out loans they couldn't afford or call every distant relative begging for help. They'd already sacrificed so much. So I walked to the student loan office down the hall and signed papers for a private loan. I told myself I'd pay it back on my own after graduation. Easy. The first payment came due 6 months later while I was still in school, $240 a month. I got a job shelving books at the campus library for $8 an hour and picked up tutoring sessions for kids who struggled with math. Between classes, I'd run to work. Between work, I'd tutor until midnight. My parents called every Sunday asking how my scholarship was going. I told them it was great. My mom would cry happy tears talking about how proud she was that her smart daughter got everything paid for. Every month, I made that payment. Sometimes I'd eat nothing but ramen noodles for 3 weeks straight. When my roommates went out for pizza, I'd say I wasn't hungry. When they asked why I worked so many hours with a full ride, I'd joke that I was saving up for something special. By graduation, the debt had grown to $53,000. Interest kept piling on top of interest. I still said nothing. I got a job in marketing in Chicago and moved to the smallest studio apartment I could find. It was basically a closet with a hot plate, but rent was only $800 a month. My parents visited once and asked why I lived somewhere so tiny when I made decent money. I told them I was being responsible and saving for a house. Really, I was drowning. Every single month, I'd transfer money to that loan. I walked 40 minutes to work instead of taking the bus. I bought clothes from thrift stores and told people I was into vintage fashion. I never went to movies or bars. When coworkers invited me out, I'd make excuses about being tired or having plans. My friends thought I was incredibly disciplined. They'd joke about my monk-like lifestyle and ask for budgeting advice. If only they knew I was living on peanut butter sandwiches and splitting single meals into 2 days of food. The worst part was lying to my family. When Jake started applying to colleges, he'd call asking for advice about scholarships. I'd help him with applications while knowing his chances were slim. When my parents mentioned how expensive college was getting, I'd nod and agree while making another payment on my secret debt. 5 years passed, then 6. The balance barely moved despite never missing a payment. I'd lie awake calculating how many more years I'd be trapped. My parents kept asking when I'd buy a house or find a nice boyfriend. How could I explain that I couldn't afford either? Year 7, I got promoted and started making better money. Instead of improving my lifestyle, I threw every extra dollar at the loan. I worked overtime whenever possible. I sold my car and took public transportation. I subletted my apartment for 3 months and slept on a friend's couch, using the rent money for payments. My parents started worrying I was too focused on work. My mom would call saying I sounded stressed and needed to take better care of myself. My dad offered to send money to help me enjoy life more. Every offer broke my heart a little more. Year 8, I finally saw light. The balance dropped below $20,000. I started making double payments, then triple when I could manage it. I took freelance projects and worked weekends. My entire life revolved around killing this debt. Finally, at 29 years old, I made the last payment, $87,000 total, paid over 8 years, all by myself.